welcome back to another Wheel Wednesday, where I spin this wheel to get a prompt and then draw that prompt in whatever way I come up with. Today, the prompt was from Whipping Boy on DeviantArt, which was, someone sees a reflection of their true inner self and it frightens them. And for this, I decided to go with something that I thought was a little silly, a little quirky, mayhaps. And it was just like a monster seeing a reflection of something much less monstrous, but being frightened by it. And so that's what I did. And of course, there needed to be a reason for them to see a reflection, so I decided to make it like inside a weird sewers area, or maybe near a canal. I'm not really sure where they are, but it is by water, and it is like on pavement and not by natural water, or not by a natural riverbank or puddle. Yeah. I can use words good. I promise. Yep. I'm already out of things to say. The rendering that I use in this, for the most part, is similar to how I've been doing stuff recently, with like a hard round brush that changes opacity and size based on pressure. When before I would always use a like long ovular shaped blending brush that had a canvas texture, which I did use in this, but I used to use that all the time for basically everything, and this time it was not too much. To start, I did base color of really bright white, since I knew I'd want, or like light coming off the water and reflecting off of the creature. So I started off really bright, because I typically don't go too much brighter than the first color I put down. That might be a weakness of mine, so I remedied that by just starting off really bright. And then I used an airbrush with that same color on multiply to get darker colors. And then I used the background color as the darkest dark. Eventually I get darker, but for now it's the darkest dark. And then due to using the background color and multiply, I got like a nice blue hue, which I tried to mimic as a midtone, or current midtone. It eventually is less of the midtone. It still stays pretty middle of the red though throughout the whole thing. The pose I did, I was trying to show fear without being like a obvious scream or anything, like hiding against the wall, so I tried to go with cowering and hiding the face, while also having the wide eye, looking down at what it's scared of. And yep, that's, yep. Multiply, lots of multiply to create shadows, like what I'm doing right now with that hard round brush, changes opacity. You know the one I talked about before. Yeah, I really don't know what to talk about for most of these, other than just yapping, because I feel like I've described the rendering, and I just continue to do that thing that I described, and not much changes throughout. I mean, could I give these things a story? Maybe. Could I not yap the whole 10 minutes? Also maybe. I just kind of yap until I see something that I feel I should talk about. Like how I slowly build up multiply layers as I go along. Mostly because I didn't really know how harsh I wanted the shadows, so I kind of went very light on them to start with, and eventually create more. And here I'm adding these like lines in the skin literally just because I felt that the plain flat skin was too boring and needed something to spice it up and make the creature more monstrous. Even though it's like literally just lines, not super monstrous or anything. It's not like teeth or spikes growing out of it. If it was a tattoo, it would honestly be like kind of lame. Just lines going in mostly somewhat, well, it's not really random directions, but if you put the arm down, then they'd be in a different direction than the ones on the shoulder, which would be kind of weird. And eventually I put them on they like to, not to the same amount as on the shoulder. Much more spread out, but they're there. Eventually I get to the water, and I can only think of talking about what I do with the water right now, so that's why I'm talking about this right now. But with the water and the water light reflections, I guess is what I'll call them, I just ended up using color dodge and a airbrush sized down, so it's harder to tell it's an airbrush. It kind of just looks like a brush with soft edges, which I guess is what an airbrush is. I won't get into the weeds about it, but I use that with color dodge in blue, and I try to mimic what in my mind is the reflections of water, because I did not look at a reference for the reflections of water. I did use a pose reference though. I think that might be kind of clear that I did that though. I'm not that cool with it when it comes to creating anatomy. I consider myself okay at it. Not this good though. In the wall, I thought about doing bricks, but I mean it's reminiscent of bricks, but it is not actually bricks when you look at it. I mean, I guess it could be, but it would not be structural bricks then, that's for sure. And with the light that I end up doing, I think it looks alright. And it does still provide that more industrial feeling. Anyway, coming up here is what I was talking about with the color dodge and the airbrush, to do like water patterns on the wall. And I used just a textured brush in Krita for these lights on the wall, just because, again, trying to make it more reminiscent of concrete or something industrial. And yeah, there's all the airbrushed water reflections I was talking about. And now I get into the silly reflection of the creature, which I decided to make just a nice, friendly, marshmallow-like creature thing with a nice big smile, because he's so sweet. And the only real story story in quotation marks here, that I thought about for this is wherever this creature lives, or whatever society the creature is from, obviously being evil and horrible is considered to be more liked. So seeing the true reflection of a nice friendly marshmallow creature is considered a bad thing. Hence the being terrified. Also, super loud vehicle just drove by outside, and I don't know if the mic picked that up, but I felt the need to point it out. So if you did get picked up, I know. I just can't do anything about it. And I refuse to go back and edit these audio logs. I record them once and call it good. And don't go back and check how bad it was, because that's my way. Yep. I do art, not audio. Anyway, here I went back with another multiply layer and created even darker shadows, and I tried to go make cool looking water reflections on the creature's body, but decided that they looked really bad, so I got rid of them. And that's everything. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. See you next week probably. Bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.